it's Jane, and welcome back and a happy new year to you all, and hello to new subscribers. Here we are at the start of a whole year of potential crafting projects. Let's start with something fairly simple. A birthday card and a little trick with text that I want to share with you. I made this card last year for a birthday exchange. I really liked how simple and bold this is. It's in my Can I Make This in Silhouette Studio board, and I will link to that below. And to get started, I'm simply going to right click and copy image. And I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that I can see it. And then I want to get rid of some of the excess around, so I'm going to just draw a rectangle around it, like so. Select both of them together and open my modify panel and crop. Now normally I would start with making my card bases and things, but first we're going to deal with the text. So let's zoom in until I'm happy that'll do. That's a nice size. I'll just close modify, and I know I haven't got a font that will look like this birthday, and so I'm going to draw it instead. So we're going to start with that, and the first thing I'm going to use is the line tool. Now I could do curved lines or straight lines. We'll start with straight, and it's not going to have a fill colour, it's already made that transparent for me. As for thickness, I've worked out that it's going to be about 4 points. And of course I want a colour of black. And I'm going to start with all the straight lines, the upright ones. So let's start with I first, click and drag. And it hasn't made it big enough, has it? Right, there we go. Probably because I didn't press enter. There we go, that's better. And then let's just make it a bit smaller. So that's the I. And then for the other uprights, I can cheat and duplicate. So here's the upright for the R. And let's duplicate it again and do the upright for the T and make it the right sort of size. And do the same for the H. And again, make it the right sort of size. Duplicate it again. And then I probably won't do that. Yes, I can duplicate it again for the Y and rotate it until it's right, and just pull it a little bit longer there. And we'll go for a straight one again and duplicate it, rotate it this way for this other bit of the Y. And just pull it in and line it up with that one. Yep, that's not bad. I think it might be a bit too long there. Yes, there we go. Oh, and we need some going that way, don't we? So that's fine. Now let's do our horizontal lines. So I'll draw a horizontal line here. Now it's gone back to 0, so I need to change it to 4. There's that relatively straight? Yes, I think it's not bad, is it? Let's just pull it in a little bit, and then I can duplicate it again for the A here and line it up. So that's all the straight lines done. Oh, I haven't done one for the B, have I? Right, let's do a duplicate there and put this here for the B. And then, because that's a little bit dark, let's lower the transparency so that I can see my actual lines that I've done. Next time, I'm going to draw a curved shape. And I can start here, click, click again, click again, click again, click again. Now, because I'm not completing the shape, I'm going to press my escape key. And of course, I still haven't set it at 4, have I? So let's click it, if we can get, oh, there we go. Let's set this at 4. And then double click to open point editing. And that will help me to make these nice smooth edges. This one in the middle wants to be a corner. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. This wants to be a corner. Grab the little blue handle and pull it out. This wants to be a bit straighter here. It's got too much of a kink in it. I don't want a kink. Click smooth. There we go, that's better. And I can just straighten it a little bit. Now you can spend a lot longer on getting your lettering right. I'm going to do it relatively quickly because you don't want to watch me doing it for ages. But you get the idea. You just keep going until you think it looks how you want it to look. Select each point as you go along. So there is my B. And I can click my select tool again, and I can cheat and use this, I think. Let's see if we can use it to start off the R. It's not far off, is it? So let's double click, and we can then move these points individually to make sure that they meet and line up properly. I quite like that for the R. And then here, of course, we can delete that point because we don't want it. And I can pull this point over for the R. And move the corner in a little. Move that down and just give it a little bit of a bend, like so. Excellent. And I've missed an upright for the D there, haven't I? So let's quickly do an upright for our letter D. And just make it a little bit smaller. And now we need our half space there, so let's draw our curved line. And let's change this to 4 while I remember, shall we? And then I'll be able to see it. Click, 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 and then press escape because it's not a full shape. Double click, and it's added a point which I don't want. Click this one and make it nice and smooth. Put that there, grab the little blue handle, grab this one, grab the blue handle, and then let's just bring that in a little bit. There we go. And then that just leaves us the A, and I'll still do it as a curved shape, I think, but I'll start here and then click, 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 and click, and then again press escape at the bottom, and then double click to select it, the point editing, and I want to make this flat, so when it's highlighted in red, that's the line that will be affected, so I want to click make flat, then click this bottom one so that this bit here is highlighted, and make that flat, and then I can make this smooth, and it is smooth, so that's alright, and just pull it in like that. And I've missed a horizontal for the T as well. Not doing very well, am I? So let's quickly pinch this one from the H, put it over here, and make it smaller. And let's, while I'm at it, line that up there. And there we go. So when you see some text, if it's relatively simple, like this was, don't worry about trying to find a font, especially if you've got hundreds of fonts. You could be ages. Simply have a go at drawing it yourself. I don't like that D. It's not quite right. That's better. And you can, like I say, spend as little or as long on doing it as you like. I'm just going to put the transparency back up. Click my Fit to Window. And I can just move this out of the way now, and I've got my letters there. I can draw around them to select them and group them together. So now we need the word wishes. Now I wouldn't attempt to draw that because it's more like handwriting and that would be a bit harder to do. So I did find a font, and here's where I learned a little trick. Let's open our text style panel and our text tool. And the font that I found was called Dreamy. I can't remember exactly where I got it, but if it's available, I will link to it below. I want DE, where's D? DR, and it's this one. You can hardly see it written here, it's so small, but it's this one, Dreamy Script, and I've got it at 72. I don't know that I want a line style on it at the moment, so let's set that to 0 and make it transparent, but I do want a fill of black, and let's type wishes. And that is actually quite small, isn't it, compared to what I want. So let's drag it out and make it a bit bigger. Now I don't know the exact size that I want this yet because I haven't made the rest of the card. So let's leave it like that for the moment and just group those together and move them to the side. Close my text panel. Now let's draw the base of the card. Now really I should by now have saved my card bases instead of having to draw them out each time, but if you're a new subscriber or new to Silhouette, maybe this will be useful for you. So I know that I use A4 cut in half, which gives me a card front size of 4.13 wide, and I can use my tab button to go into the next one to 5.845, and when the padlock is unchecked, that means it will alter it exactly to those measurements. If you check your padlock, it keeps the lock of the aspect ratio, but sometimes you don't always want that. So let's put that there. And then I want to open my offset panel because I want an internal offset of 0.13, square, apply, and I want to fill that with white. I can close offset, move up a little bit so that I can see what I'm doing, and I'll move this over just a little so we can see. I tend to keep my view at 1 plus zoom. So if I go to fit to window and then click once again, so that this inch here matches an inch if I hold a ruler up to the screen. And I know then that that is the size that I see everything when it's printed. When you zoom in a lot like this, something might look a lot bigger on your screen than it will when you've printed it. So to be certain, I always just start at this, and then I can move in and out once to make sure I get things right afterwards. Let's start by drawing 3 rectangles of colour, just so that we've got them handy. So draw a rectangle. I don't want them cutting because I'm going to just cut the white card front. I'm not going to be cutting any of the other pieces. And I want a nice red colour, so I'll choose red, and then down here choose, let's see, that red enough or is it a bit too pink? Let's try red over here. Oh, that looks quite nice. Should we try that? So let's just draw red, and then I can duplicate that. And let's pick a nice yellow. Now that's a little bit too bright, so let's make it a little bit darker. And that will do. And then let's duplicate it again and make a nice dark blue. How about that? I think that will do nicely. So now I've got my 3 colours. And now I need to do my lines to divide up the card base. I'm going to draw another rectangle and we'll do horizontal first. And I think we'll have snap to grid on to start with and make it just 1 square thick like that and make it black. And then of course I'm going to need it to match this size, and for now, because the border is black, I'm not actually going to worry too much about it. So let's say about there, and let's do that. Now I think when I've done that, is it still? Yes, it is. When I was doing this earlier, it kept changing everything. There we go. Let's put that one there, and then I can simply duplicate it for the one that goes across the bottom, which is going to be more of a square. Let's try that. And then I'm going to draw my upright one and change that to black and decide where I want it. Now I'm going to turn snap to grid off now because I want finer movements. So this is long and thin at the top there, and this wants to be just a little bit smaller. It is actually changing the size. Can you see? It's making my line thinner while I'm doing that, which is not what I want. So this is 0.111 of an inch. So is that. But the width on this is 0.12. So I want to change that to match. There we go. And I'm going to move this up with the arrows a little. That there, that will do. And we need one more small one there. So I'll duplicate. And it's this decent square. And I think for the width, I think about 0.4 might do. Oh, it's too small, that isn't it? So 0.8. Let's try that. That's probably too big. Some of the, oh no, that'll just about fit. Look, there we go. That'll do nicely. And I need one here. So, oh no, I don't need to do that. I don't need to draw it. Let's use this upright. Duplicate it and make it a height of 0.8. And that will keep the width so that it doesn't get smaller. And it just wants to be a little bit bigger, so let's go for 0.9 so that it meets, and this wants to be more square at the bottom. Excellent, that will do. And now I can move my coloured pieces into position. So we want red up here. I'm going to put it behind the black lines. And pull it in. And what I will actually do is make it smaller than the white. Hold my shift key, click the white, and then use my align tools here so I can align it to the left of the white and the top of the white. And then click it again, and I can just pull it so that it hides behind those lines. And then I can move the yellow one and do exactly the same. Just move it so that it's away from the edge. Hold my shift key, click the white and align it to the left edge. Click out, click the yellow, and then just bring it in so that it's within the black lines. And finally, let's do the blue. Hold the shift key, and this time align it to the bottom and to the right. Click out, click the blue, and bring it down to behind the black lines. So that's the card base done. So we're ready now to bring in the text. So let's make sure that's at the front by using bring to front. And I can bring this into position. Oh, and that text size isn't bad, is it? So let's see, about there. I'm going to ungroup it. Now, birthday is still grouped, and I'm actually going to just make it a touch bigger. And maybe just pull it out that way a little bit too. And now we can mess with this word, wishes. It's probably a bit big, so I'm actually going to make it smaller. Move it to about here. And I don't have a font, a script one, that leans to the right like this. And I thought, oh, what can I do? What can I do? And from Designer Edition upwards, we've got a handy little tool under Transform. And it's this one here, the Shear tool. And then if I put Show Shear Handles, I get some little controls on each side. And let's zoom in a little bit so we can see them even more. You see? Got little yellow bits in them as well now. But if I hover over them, I get a double arrow. So I want to lean my text to the right. And I think I'll lean it about that far. Click out, and then I can bring it back in. Zoom out, fit to window, zoom in once, and decide if that font's all right or whether I just want to make it a little bit thicker. And in fact, I'm going to add a line of black. I've chosen the black colour, 0.25, 1. I think that might do it. No, let's do 0.25. And I don't need transform anymore. That's that. Yeah, I quite like that. And then finally, all I need to do is put some colour behind the letters like the original designer has. So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use these coloured squares that I've already got. So let's duplicate the red one and bring it down. And we can zoom in for this. It's going between the R and T and between the D and A. So let's send it backward so it's behind. Let's make it smaller. And it's going to start about there. I'm going to double click to open point editing, of course, and then I can manipulate each point individually until it fits where I want it to. Now, I need to make a corner there, or make it smooth, so that I've got a handle that I can pull. Oops. So that I've got a handle that I can pull out. Oh, no, it didn't like it. Oh, there it is, look. It's just a small one. And that fills that gap. And then click my select tool, duplicate, and I can take it straight over here to do the reds between the D and the A. I'm going to double click before I put it behind this time. And let's just straighten it up. And if you want to be able to see more what you're doing, you can lower the transparency so you can see the gap in between, look there. And you can then make sure that you're covering it but not going outside your black lines. So it makes it a little bit easier. I think that will do. Put the transparency back up to 100, have my select tool and send to the back. And then it was blue, I think, here, so I can duplicate that again, use my eyedropper tool to pick up the blue, move it over here, do point editing again, because it's just as quick as redrawing it. I've put an extra point in there which I don't want, and let's just fill that like so. Click the select tool, send it backwards. And then I just need yellow. So again, I'm going to duplicate, use my eyedropper tool to pick up the yellow, bring it over here and down. I'll just lower the transparency so I can see, double click and manipulate my points so that I'm covering all the white but not coming outside of the black lines. And I've got an extra point there that I don't need, so I can just delete it. Put the transparency back up, click my selection tool, send to back. Use the fit to window command again, and there I go. I've done my Mondrian birthday wishes, and it was really quite quick and easy. You can, of course, if you want, make your lines thicker. You can spend a lot longer on your text. But really, what I want to show you was the fact that you might have a font that's near what you need, but isn't either leaning the right way or whatever, and you don't have to worry about it. You can use the shear tool. You've got lots of tools, especially from Designer Edition upwards, lots of tools to help you replicate fonts and designs that you might see around the web. So that's all for this tutorial, the first of 2018. I'm sure there'll be plenty more. I am thinking of holding a live stream where you could come along and, I don't know, set me a challenge. Maybe there's something you found and you say, Jane, how do you trace this? Jane, how would you make this? I don't know when I'm going to do it. Now, I know I won't be able to suit everybody, but if you'd like to leave a comment as to what sort of time would suit you, and please mention what time zone you're in so that I have an idea, because I'm in the UK. I can't assume that everybody will be, and we'll see what we can do. Maybe I can make that happen in the next week or two. So until I see you next time, take care.